Namaste. This is how the Nepalese greet and welcome you. Hope you're all keeping well and looking forward to round two of our Himalayan series. It's the 19th day of Fagun today. Fagun is the month of spring, and the year is 2077. COVID is a thing of the past. Oh, how we wish. Wouldn't we all love to fast forward this period of our lives? Well, just for the next hour or so, let the time machine take us to the year 2077. Let's end the suspense. It's the Nepalese calendar we are referring to, which is 56 years and 8.5 months ahead of the Gregorian calendar. Nepal, with 8 out of 10 highest mountain peaks in the world, it is not surprising that the first thing that comes to mind is Everest, snow-capped mountains, and trekking. Among these mountains are charming Newari villages, where you actually get to see the Nepalese way of life. People living there still follow the age-old customs and traditions. It is in Lumbini where Gautam Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, was born. Rich in biodiversity, Nepal attracts a fair share of wildlife enthusiasts. There is a whole lot of other activities you can enjoy in the country, as you will soon see. We are pleased to have with us today Mr. Bishnu Prasad Acharya. Born and raised in Chitwan, Nepal, he had a passion for birding and exploring right from his school days. After finishing university, he started working closely with the Bird Education Society, which was established in the 90s, with the aim of educating people about the importance of protecting birds and the ecosystem. With a friendly disposition and a creative mind, he took up tour guiding to show tourists the lesser visited areas of the country and give them an insight into the country's rich culture and fauna. He continues his research on the avian species along with his work. Bishnu assisted Jeff Corwin and the team of Animal Planet with their documentary work on one-horned rhinos and has led many a trip for specialist tour operators. He is also actively involved in preservation projects of the World Heritage Sites in Nepal. Post Vishnu's presentation, I will very quickly take you through our tours, and then we will have the question answer round. Based on the feedback received from most attendees last week, when there were many messages being exchanged in the chat box, may we request you to please send any questions either post-presentation or as a direct message to me. There is an option in the chat box to send messages directly or privately, and I will take them up during the question answer round. Thank you. Now, I shall pass the baton over to Bishnu. Over to you, Bishnu.
Thank you very much, Sunita. And good evening from Nepal to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discover Nepal with Bishnu. So some slides. I hope all of you have a same slide that I have. And I'm very happy for this opportunity to introduce my country, my culture, my wildlife, my everything to you today. Thank you very much. I start with my slide. One in the middle now, you can see, it's a stupa. Middle of the slide is a stupa with the Buddha eyes and the 4 directions of the stupa. There are a pair of eyes looking in all the direction. And even on this slide, you can see the character of Nepal, the identity of Nepal, because very on the left top, you can see the one-horned rhino, which comes from the lowland of Nepal, from the Chitwan area. That's the natural site. And as everybody knows, the mountain below the rhino, slide on the left down, below the rhino, is the area of the Mt Everest, and the little village on the ridge is the Namche Bazaar, very famous. The first hill to see the Mt Everest, Namche Bazaar. And when we go to the right from the stupa, also this country has over 101 different ethnic groups, and the faces, the people, the welcoming people of Nepal. She's the lady from the mid-hill, the Chetri lady. And below the lady picture, there is a statue of the guardians from the Hindu temple, because this country have millions of temples and thousands of stupas. This carries the history, culture, and architect of our country and society in a different period of time. So this high picture here, the middle is the stupa, and left and right from the stupa, all they are the identity of Nepal, the nature, the mountain, the people, the heritage, and old architect. So this is just a small introduction. Now here we come with our map, and if you try to find the Nepal in the world, it's a small country in South Asia, two huge neighbors, east, west, and south is Great India, and on the northern part is the Tibetan Plateau, the Tibetan autonomous region of China, and our total area of Nepal is 147,000 square kilometer, more or less, which is the 95th biggest country in the world. If you look on the area-wise, there are many countries that are smaller than Nepal, but it's the 95th, but being in the middle of the two giant countries, it looks smaller. So, and in the north is the China, the Tibet. And if you are seeing in the middle of the country's picture, the flag of Nepal. Nepal has many identity, very special thing of its own. And one of these is its flag. Probably nowhere except Nepal, the country has a non-rectangle flag. Nepali flag is non-rectangle. It is two triangle one. I think the most of the world have a rectangle one, and very unique with its color, surrounded by blue, and the background is the crimson red, and the moon and sun are printed on both sides. And very, also the flag of Nepal carries the very old history. It was from the 4th century AD. In some of our sculptures, some of our printing, we can see this flag. It's one of the very old flag. So the Nepal, you see now completely the map of Nepal. As I told you, 147,000 square kilometer, almost like 57,000 square miles. It was not like this. It's a landlocked country in South Asia. It was not like this before 1768. It is very important year of Nepali history. 1768, exactly 253 years ago from now. Within this map had 46 tiny kingdoms. And the king of Gorkha is a little district which is in the central Nepal. Which is between Kathmandu and Pokhara. If you have even in this slide, you can see the king of the Gorkha, very ambitious person, he decided to make all the 46 tiny kingdom into the greater kingdom, and the unification was started. And finally, that king, Prithvi Narayan Saha, unified the country, 46 to 1 greater kingdom. And 240 years till 2008, from 1768 till 2008, 240 years, the Saha dynasty, they ruled in Nepal. But after 2008, it's the choice of the people, the effect of the democracy worldwide, and Nepali political parties and Nepali people decided to have a Republican country, and since then, since 2008, it's a Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal. So on the slide, the green marks that you are seeing are the different major national park and wildlife reserve. Even we have more than this. We just have printed the major one. Almost 1/3 of the country's land is covered by the nature jungle, and 24% of country's land is covered by the wildlife reserve and a national parks, and some of these major national park and the wildlife reserve, like the Chitwan National Park in the center below Kathmandu, and in the western Nepal, very famous one is Birdia one, and Sagarmatha, the Everest. Everest is called Sagarmatha in Nepali language. It is famous in 3 languages. In English, Everest, Nepali, Sagarmatha, in Tibetan, Chomolungma. Also the Everest, the whole mountain and a surrounding area within the Everest National Park and some others on the site. So, sometimes we say the mountain weather are very unpredictable. Even the God cannot say after 1 hour what gonna be like there. But in general, Nepal is in the South Asia, and it's a very big impact of the Bay of Bengal in the south, and we have a high mountain on the north, which is nautical distance hardly 100 kilometers. So the Bay of Bengal and the tall mountain like a wall on the left, on the north, it make a big change in the weather. So for example, when we say about the weather, today is the 3rd of March. In the month of March, this is springtime. In Kathmandu, it is minimum temperature 8 degree, maximum 24. Like a Chitwan in the south, which is the hotter part of the country, the minimum is 12 and the maximum 33. So there are every 10 kilometers distance, there will be a different pattern of the weather. But in general, I would say those places of highlights where we're going to tour and make our vacation, these are the places normally no snow at all. Kathmandu Valley, for example, it had a once in a blue moon. I know 2002 there was a snow for 1 day, and since then it never has snowed. And the daytime, even the morning is, let's say, 8 degrees Celsius, and the same day the afternoon gonna be 24, 25 degrees Celsius. That's why we don't have an extreme cold here. But in the southern part of the country, like in the Chitwan and Birdia area, in the summer, 2 months of summer, May and June, it's gonna be around 40 degrees Celsius. And in Nepal, this is the impact of the Bay of Bengal and the Himalayas weather pattern influence. Annually, 2,500 millimeter, 2,500 millimeter rain falls, and rainy season are June, July, and August. The 3 months, June, July, and August, in 3 months, over 80% rain are fallen in 3 months' time. So I would say in Nepal, always, except this 2 months of summer, June, July, most of the time is very nice to travel through the country. I would say that. So many things to do. I told you 101 different type of people, 92 different spoken language in this country, all 101 type of people. They have their own costume, culture, food, and all different way of life, all to see and observe. And beside that, the nature has given us a lot of things, like a Bengal tiger, rhino, elephant, bear, so many things, more than 950 different species of bird, the high cliff of the mountain, the white water. Nepal is the 2nd biggest freshwater resources country in the world, 2nd largest in the world. And we have a lot of water sport, the cliff, mountain, all this adventure thing. And most of this you can do, like mountaineering, trekking, all the bungee jumping, jeep flyers, a village to the school, to go to the different schools, and they are very happy to welcome you and have you there. and a lot of like a modern, adventurous sport like a paragliding, motor gliding, the helicopter tour, the canoeing, bungee jumping, and beside all these adventurous things, also the Nepal is very famous. This is the land of the Buddha and so many Hindu deities and so many peaceful places like that. One can go for the yoga, meditation, and practicing the monastic life. So many things that offer here, and so many different people that I mentioned you, and all their food are different. The different ingredients, different way of cooking, and also this is very a good opportunity. Go to the different community and learn to cook and prepare the food. So there's so many things that we offer, adventure to yoga and everything that one can do and observe here. So this slide, if you are seeing, all of you see the young girl in the middle of the slide with her beautiful eyes and a crown on her head. Some of you might have heard, it's a very old tradition of Kathmandu Valley. It's a Kumari. The young girl is called Kumari. This is the tradition. A girl born in the Buddhist family with the 32 outer perfection or the quality would be chosen in the age of 4 or 5, and should be, with the big celebrations, she would be brought in a special palace-like house, and she will be kept there, and all Buddhists and Hindu come and pray her and get the blessings. A living goddess. This is probably the only culture of the whole Hindu or Buddhist world. The living goddess, Kumari, is there in the center with her crown. And she's so important for the Hindu and Buddhist. In September, when we have one of the big festival called Indra Jatra of Kathmandu, she comes out of the palace, and that is announced public holiday in this country. So from the Kumari, when we go to the left top, you can see some little bit like a scary type of face with the mask and hair. That's a Lakhe. So many different people and ethnic groups that I mentioned you. The original inhabitant, the original people of Kathmandu Valley are called Newari. Newari are one of the richest ethnic groups with the culture and festival and celebration. And they have so many festival and celebration. And during the Kumari festival in September, they have a chant, the dance, and some joker, some pretend as a demon, and put that mask. That is called Lakhe. Lakhe, with that mask. And below the mask, if you can see, the smiling girl with the drum and a black blouse and some white wrap on their body. This is the costume. Because there's so many different people have their own costume according to the weather situation and according to their occupation. Because these are the farmer people of the Newari community, and that's their uniform during the celebration. And below down, you can come to the left bottom, below the Newari girl and some other smiling girls that you can see with the bangles and the colorful thing. Because this community, they are the Tharu who comes from the lowland of Nepal, like a Chitwan area. Once that was malarial zone. Not now, it's eradicated now, but the long time before 1960s, and these are the Tharu girl there. So if we come to the right top, you can see another lady with the scarf on her. She's the Chhatri lady of the middle hill. And then below down, the Chhatri man during the festival, and the far bottom to the right, you can see there's some people with the drum. So the different, still people live with the old tradition and culture. They are the shamans, and the group of them, they supposed to believe a lot of different disease and problem. Shamans group, all different thing. You can see different faces and costume there. So not only the people, we are very rich. So we are also very rich with our flora and fauna. Small country, but because of the having a variation of the landscape and climate and the altitude, we have all from tropical to the temperate flora and fauna. You can see in the very in the middle and the top, the one-horned rhino, the great one-horned rhino. So this type of rhinos, only 2 places originally they found in the whole world. In India, there in northeast India, there is a place called Assam there, and the Chitwan Park, which is south of Kathmandu in Nepal, they are originally found here. I think the last population of this one-horned rhino in the whole world is not more than 1,200, 1,200 more or less. And below down, there's another rare species of the reptiles, you can see, with the long snout. And they are very special, because probably more than 20 or 22 different type of crocodiles family they found in all over the world. In Nepal, we have 2 different. And one you seeing, I'm pointing, the one with the long snout, they're called gharial. Gabialis gangeticus with their Latin name. They are the fish-eating crocodile. They don't eat flesh, only fish, and they only survive in the fresh water. And in the river of Chitwan, even in the Birdia, because we have bred them in a captivity and have released them in the wild, and they are doing very good with their number. And if we come to the left of the rhino, on the left top, you can see the elephant, the Asiatic elephant. They're carrying their food, the elephant grass on their back. Early morning, they go and cut the grass and bring to the stable. And the whole night, when they are kept in the stable, that carried grass, which they carry in the morning, and the whole night they eat it. And below down the elephant, you can see the beautiful animal. Everyone wants to see that. The tourists are there in the 4-wheel jeep, and a Bengal tiger is passing by. So all over the world, the number of tiger is highly declining because of so many regions. But Chitwan is doing its best. In a 7 years' time, they double up the number of the tigers. Very good. And in the Chitwan Park, they have over 115 tigers. In the Birdia National Park, we have over 100 Bengal tigers. And we have a quite good chance, I would say. There is a chance. Not quite slim, quite good. And below the tiger, they're known as a farmer of the jungle, the wild boar. And if we go to the behind the rhino, top on the right, is another common species of crocodile that's called marsh mugger. That type of crocodile is quite common, survive everywhere. They eat everything they get, flesh, birds, fish, whatever. And below down the crocodile, the beautiful deer with its antler, with the beautiful spot is called spotted deer, axis, which is the most common deer of Nepal. We have more than 8 different types of deer found. This is the most common one. And below down the deer is the leopard, common leopard, and it's very strange. Not in many places the tiger and leopard are in the same territory, but in Chitwan, because our vegetation. We have a grassland and the big sal and kapok tree everywhere. That's why we have a tiger and leopard in the same territory, because the tiger, they cannot climb up in the tree. They're always on the ground. But the leopard, when they get any sense of tiger around them, and when they notice something of the tiger's existence nearby, immediately they go and climb up on the tree. Not only the mammals and reptiles, also the Nepal is paradise for the bird and bird watcher. More than 10% of the world's population of the bird, 950 different species of birds we have in Nepal, and one can see. Of course, some of these birds are migratory in winter and some are in the summer, but most of the birds are resident all throughout the year, which are more than 500 altogether, 950 different species. The one on the far left on the top, you can see the peacock, which is the national bird of India. And below the peacock, you can see the kingfisher. You can, from the beak and this shape, you can tell it's kingfisher. It's a large size. It's called stork-billed kingfisher, the largest size kingfisher of Nepal. And we have 9 different types of kingfisher found in Nepal, but the one you see on the picture below the peacock is the stork-billed, the biggest one. And quite common to see during the walk in the jungle and boat ride in the river. And below the kingfisher, the white bird with the beak is the egret, large egret. And we'll go to the middle row. On the top of the middle row of the slide, you can see the purple bird. That's the purple gallinule. It's a bird of the marshland. And below the gallinule, you can see the pair of bird, black bird with a forked tail. They are very common even in the, not only in the wild, also in the village and countryside. They are the black drongo. And below the drongo, you can see the very colorful bird with the crest. That's the hoopoe. Hoopoe has only one species in all over the world. And the one on the right is the hornbill, and below is the heron and another common kingfisher. They are the most, yeah. Thing, as I mentioned you earlier, see, you can raft here. I told you we have more than 6,000 different rivers coming from the mountain, going to the Ganges. One can raft, and you can jeep flying. You can do valley to valley. You can do the cycling on the mountain and the trekking. Of course, the bungee jumping is the modern adventure, and you can learn the kayaking and all these, flying modern sport. Nepal is. We have a lot of places, and it's very famous. One can have a really good experience of doing that. So, and the field, because they still over 70% people of the country, they live in the country, and their major occupation is the farming and doing the pottery, the traditional craft. And the parents, they work in a field, and nowadays the children just have started going to the school. And you can see in the picture, very top in the middle is the pot doing the pottery. One on the left is during the monsoon time planting rice. Below 2 pictures are the school kids, because here, school kids, they go with the uniform. And yeah, and far on the right also you can see the drawing the pottery, and below the pottery is the thangka painting. One of the very old and very famous art of here is the thangka painting. Also, you can see and observe, and you can involve and carving. It's another thing. So a lot of things to see and do in the field. So many different people and so many different type of food you can see. So we are displaying few of these. It's not possible to display all. So many different. The one in the common one, the far left on the top is see in the plate. So many things displays rice and it's a thali. Actually, the main food is the rice in the middle, and there will be some other lentil soup called dal and curry and pickle and salads, and some eat meat, or some have a different choice of the non-veg. That's commonly, this is like a common food, dal bhat. And below the dal bhat, on the left, on the bottom, you can see another like a thali, mini food displayed. But this time, the rice is different. Here is the beaten rice. And there's some other curry stuff are there. And on the top in the middle, you can see the dhiro, like a maize thing, like a maize corn or the maize millet, buckwheat. And they eat mostly in the mountain region where they don't have a rice. That's the food from the mountain. And below the dhiro, you can see this like a pizza looking thing, we commonly call Nepali pizza. It's a chatamari. Looks like a pizza. In Kathmandu, it's a Newari people, they eat as a snacks. And one on the top right, I think some of you also know that's momo, the dumpling, different taste, the meat, different type of meat or the vegetable, or there's some spice you wrap and you steam and eat with the different sauce. Below down from the closed momo, you can see the open momo, and the momo can be fully closed, also can be open in one side and dip in the different sauce and you can eat it. And the bottom right, bottom right, you can see another white wrapping. They are the yomari, the sweet dish of Kathmandu. Inside there will be the coconut piece and molasses. Newari, which is the famous sweet of Kathmandu. So places to see. See, we have 9 different World Heritage sites, the old palaces and pagodas and temples. So the one of these things is this is very old temple from the Bhaktapur, and the guardians, the terracotta art. The history of this temple goes more than 500 years, and all that. We are showing the one, but there are so many around there, and this is the one of our heritage sites to visit. And Kathmandu, you know, all of you have heard about the Kathmandu from the Bob Saget, from the hippie era, the Beatles, everyone, you know, love this place, have been here. And it's a very old city and modernizing very quickly, developing very quickly, and you have a very good experience of the old and the new culture and culture of the, you know, the generation between the gap of the generation, the way they build the house and this thing. So the Kathmandu is a very famous place, and so many. In the middle of the picture, you can see the biggest stupa, that's the Bodhanath, is the biggest in Kathmandu. And so on the far left, I would like to introduce you the architect of Nepal. There are 2 major architects. There's so many, but the 2 major. If you see the picture on the left, the tallest one is in the sea. That's the monkey temple, the Swambhunath Stupa. All the prayer flags around. That is a Sikhara style of the construction. And one on the right, you can see another pagoda. The pagoda, which is Nepal's typical architect, the Sikhara and pagoda, the most famous. More than 90% the heritage building and thing are built in these 2 styles. These are in Kathmandu. And if you come to the right from the architecture thing, you can see on the top of the middle, the Kal Bhairav, the Kathmandu Valley, so many shrines and pagodas. I told you millions of shrines and pagoda. One of these called Kal Bhairav is there. And below down the Kal Bhairav, this is the Darbar Square. You might have heard Darbar. Darbar in Nepal is the palace square, the open surrounding. So during the divided era of the country, there used to be 46 different kingdoms, 46 different palaces. And this is the palace complex of one of the Malla king, which is before the modern dynasty they used to live. And these are the World Heritage Site nowadays. And on the right, on the top, you can see the big bell. Bell is very important thing for Buddhist and Hindu, and they pray and they ring it. And the monkey, of course, they're everywhere because they're waiting for the offering. And you can see in the picture, there is the holy river Bagmati. On the bank of the Bagmati, you can see there are a lot of people there. It's a tradition of the different country, in a different community and different religious group. Here, mostly Buddhist and Hindu. And somebody died, a dead body would be cremated, and this is the whole crowd going to the cremation. They make a fire by the river, and the big pile of the fire, and put the dead body, and finally the body is burned and the ashes gonna put into the river. It's the tradition of the cremation that you can see here. Well, Lalitpur, within Kathmandu, we have 3 sister cities on the south, just the 5 or 6 kilometers south from here. The Lalit. Lalit means fine art. Pur is the city. Lalitpur, fine art, city of the fine art. And you can see these images of the guardians of one of the temple called Golden Temple, which was constructed in 11th century, which is about 1100 years ago. Beautiful. Yeah. And another part of the Lalitpur, and you see the one on the top left is the Darbar Square, and some dairies, and so these are the temples and pagodas of the Patan or Lalitpur Square. Bhaktapur, look at this pagodas, and we have a different calendar. On 13th of April, we have a new year, and the picture is showing you the pagoda in the background. Bunch of people, they're celebrating the Nepali New Year in the middle of the April. I'm also the Nepal is not only in the metal or other thing, also the wood carving, wood craft of Nepal is very old and very important. And some of these are one on the far left, you can see the peacock window is the best of the Bhaktapur, which is about 600 years old. If you move this slide one more step, yeah, one more please. This is the Bhaktapur. On the slide, what you're seeing is the crowd of people on the back. Okay, this is the one I'm now mentioning you, the wooden craft of Kathmandu Valley. It's a very 600 years old. The peacock window, peacock bring the good message. That's why in the window they have carved the peacock there. And this is very old. And bottom down is the one of the near the peacock window, this temple of the Bishnu, the god Bishnu is there. And one on the right is the wooden guardians, they're welcoming on the door. And below down is the Dattatreya, the temple of the 1400, the guardians and the yes, we are forwarding another slide, please. So Kokna and this Kokna Bunmati in the city center, there are lots of development and things. Just we go to the half an hour or 40 minutes drive away south to the east, and we can see still the Newari, the people living in the little villages and doing the village activities, and also you get to know the traditional life of the Newari people carrying their stuff, going to graze the goat, and the women are coming back from the temple, and the top in the middle you can see pagoda in the back. Everywhere there are pagoda. Below down from the pagoda is the farmland where they can go and they easily can sell in a crowded market which is nearby. On the far right is the woman, they're lining up to the pray. Every day is the festival. They line up and they pray. And below down is the traditional Newari house on the right down. So let's move to another one. Parping and Kopan. So these are about 1 hour drive away in the south of the Kathmandu, southwest of Kathmandu. And it is believed that the Mahayana, one sect of the Buddhism, which was spread in the Tibet and Nepal in 7th century, after 1300 years after the Buddha born. And the founder of the Mahayana, Guru Rinpoche, when he went to the Tibet, he traveled through Nepal. And the Parping is the place where he had meditated 7 years. The one on the left, and in the middle is the door of the monastery, and on the right you can see the Kopan. This is where even the foreigner one can go and stay and get the monastic life. That is Kopan Monastery. Okay, we are going to some natural Dhuli Hill. That's about 1.5 hour drive to the east of Kathmandu, a small village situated on the beautiful ridge. And you can see the misty valley, the white lake, and far on the north, you can see those are the Himalayan peaks, which is very famous for the sunrise and sunset from there. So another hill station, not far from Kathmandu, same 1.5 hour from Kathmandu, Nagarkot, and you see the whole on the top picture, the ridge, and below on the left, see the Dorjelakpa mountain, the scene from the Nagarkot, terraces, and some of the hotels, and the view of the mountain, one on the far right, on the bottom. So it's Nagarkot. Let's go to another place, Bandipur. Bandipur, outside Kathmandu Valley, biggest Newari village outside, which is like 160 kilometers west from Kathmandu. After the unification of Nepal, the Newari spread everywhere in the trading town, and they established this trading city in Bandipur. But since the modern development, the road development went from the other part of the ridge, and this looks like abandoned city, no vehicles, it's vehicle-free city, and it's still visiting that city, being there, we can have a good experience of sitting and being in the medieval town and having a medieval experience. This is the whole picture on the right of the ridge of the Bandipu, and below down the street, the vehicle-less street, and some of the old, the stone roof houses there. Next one, please. Go to the next one. Panauti, just another 2 hours drive away from Kathmandu, the Newark Village, which was in the past was in a distant location, but the very similarity of we can say a replica of the mini Kathmandu, the Newari culture, and around, and also the old, palaces, temple, pagodas are there. And beside that, in the Panauti, the local people have around the Panauti, they have developed the homestay accommodation for the visitors, and this is really charming and beautiful. Let's we move to the another one. See the lake, the second largest lake of Nepal, Fewa, which is in Pokhara, the 200 kilometers west from Kathmandu, situated in a 900 meter from the sea level, and the Fewa Lake, and this is the second biggest and beautiful. And the other side, when you're boating in the Fewa Lake, and you can have a view of the Annapurna in the other side. It's beautiful. Okay, let's go to the another one. So Pokhara, still we are you see the Fewa Lake is there. You see the one on the largest slide, one on the right top, you can see the early morning from the cloud, the mountain is coming out, it's the sunrise. And that is the Fishtail Mountain. And so the Pokhara also very famous early morning to go like a 20 minutes drive away from our hotel and stay there, and sun comes, and all the change of the mountain as the sun comes up, the color of the mountain, it's really beautiful. So one on the left top is doing the paragliding, the adventure, and below down is the lake, same lake we saw that. And below down the fishtail, the white dome is the stupa, the PC stupa where everybody go and sit there. And when you're sitting to the stupa, first there will be a first view of the lake, and behind the lake, beautiful mountain. So, and the one on the right bottom is the local lady going across the lake. So we go to the another one. So still this is not exactly in the Pokhara, the part of the Pokhara you might have heard so many different ranges of the mountain in the country. So in the center of the country, we have a range of the mountain that is called Annapurna. Again, it comes from the Sanskrit language. Anna is the grain, Purna is the heap, the mount. The shape of the mountain looks like a heap of the grain. And actually, the river starts from there and irrigate the whole field on the southern part of the country. Actually, it gives the Anna or the grain to the people, and people pray and worship. This is the view of the Annapurna. So still this is part of the Pokhara, it's God gift, sometimes people say. So the early morning when the sun comes and all the effect on the lake and the city is there, and the background you can see the white dome on the top of the hill, that is again the Peace Pagoda, and behind that, as it goes north, more north and north, the ridges, the hills get higher and higher, finally ended up being a Himalaya. Okay. So here's a Himalaya, Jomsum, Kathmandu, and the other side of the Himalaya, there is another kingdom or another big area, other side. North of the Himalaya. It's the rain shadow area. This is called Jomsum Mustang, and also known as a forbidden land. And this is very historical place. Some Tibetan. 2,000 years ago from now, they were migrated, and still these places, the Jomsum Kathmandu, the best place to have a Tibetan culture, language, to know and understand and visit the people. And one can have a free visit of getting a fully Tibetan language, culture, and history there. Okay, so Upper Mustang, this is a little bit higher than the Kagbeni earlier we saw. You see it from the landscape. The house, this rain shadow I mentioned you, and the house roof are flat, no slope, and because there is never rain. And at this place, any time of year, when the monsoon time in the southern part of the country, but that is dry land all the time, even during the monsoon. Upper Mustang. So the speciality of the upper, this is also the part of the Upper Mustang. Till 2008, they had their own king. The whole Nepal was unified long time ago, I told you. But till 2008, they had their own king in the Mustang, but no more now, under the different political system. And it's in the 3,800 meter and a wall city. And a lot of, like you can see on the barren mountain, lots of holes. There are more than 10,000 caves there, which are even inside some of the caves have very old paintings and statues. They are still to explore because this is forbidden part of the country, and this is very recently open for the visitors. So it's a whole picture of the Upper Mustang. Let's go to another one, ladies and gentlemen. So Lumbini, how can we forget without mentioning Lumbini? It's the birthplace of the Buddha. 2,560 years ago from now, in a royal family, baby born and finally became the Buddha and spread the message of peace, love, harmony, and middle path to all over the world. And this is the Lumbini. And nowadays, Lumbini is developing with the different aspect, and a lot of different, even the European, American countries, Asian countries are coming. The government of Nepal is giving them land, and they are building a lot of their style temple and the monasteries there. It's the one on the far left is the German temple. One on the right top is the Peace Pagoda by the Japanese, and below down are the monk they pray in Lumbini. Okay, we go to another one. Now we go to the lowland, flat, no mountain there, all flat. River. See, they're sitting and doing the safari by the canoe. So one made of the one log, one tree, the canoe ride. And one of the activity in the national park is doing the canoe ride. A lot of aquatic birds and a lot of crocodiles and reptiles. Other reptiles like a turtle and lots of fish, and sometimes while you're doing the canoeing in the river, the animal come and drink there, and it's a great way to observe the animal during the canoe ride in the park. Okay, we go to another one, please. So in the Chitwan, you see the far on the left is the baby elephant. There is the elephant breeding center, and on the right from the baby elephant, the ox cart, you can see the very traditional. Still, the people of the Chitwan, Tharu, I earlier mentioned you there, the malaria-resistant people, while it was existed there, still they have the grass roof house, the ox pulling cart, and this is the part of the cultural tour in the lowlands. And one on the right of the slide, you can see the 100 rhino in the river drinking, and below down is the crocodile, the fish-eating crocodile, gharial, and below down, the long down on the bottom. That's what we're going to do in Chitwan. We'll go with the binoculars, with the camera, with our green shots, and explore the flora and fauna. It's a jungle walk. Okay, we go to the next one, please. Oh, not only Chitwan, Birdia, there is another slightly bigger than Chitwan National Park, almost like Chitwan is 950 square kilometers, this is 1,000 square kilometer, and where there is a very good population of the tiger is there, and it's a very rare picture. Up to 6 cubs, tigers can give birth. Commonly seen 1 or 2, but the 4 is also quite rare. See, they coming to the river to drink, and well, maybe we'll see like that when we're doing the canoe ride and they come and drink. Okay, it's in the Birdia National Park in the western Nepal. So the Gorkha, how can we forget the Gorkha, the king of Gorkha unified Nepal, and the soldiers still serve in various armies, especially in the British army. They are the symbol of the bravery, and which is in the western part of Nepal, the little town. And I see the smiling girl from the Gorkha. They're proud of being a Gorkha people. I mean, even not in the army, but being a citizen of the Gorkha region. And below down the palace of the Gorkha. From the left below is the palace of the Gorkha, where the king who unified was born. And the upper Gorkha in the middle. And on the right is the Gorkha temple, adjoining with the Gorkha palace, is still preserved. And below down is the Gorkha. Even the Gorkha is very famous in a different aspect. Even the beer here, most sold beer is the Gorkha brand. And also the earthquake, unfortunately, I have to mention that. As 2015, the big earthquake, it was, the epicenter was in Gorkha, the village here, where it is shown before the earthquake. And the epicenter was there. That's why the name of the earthquake was given as a Gorkha earthquake. This is the Gorkha. Please, we move to the another one. So the Everest region, of course, everybody knows the top of the world. You see and the entire, not only the snow-capped mountain, the surrounding area also, the whole under the Everest National Park. And if you want to see here, the Everest, the peak, go to far on the left, with a bunch of cloud on the top. The top left is the Everest. But one on the right top is Armadablam. It's hardly 7,000 meters. The Armadablam looks taller than the Everest because it's a close view. So we have opportunity to go there by plane and helicopter, and somebody like to go by trekking. Okay, we go to the next one, please. Annapurna region, earlier in the Pokhara area, the north of Pokhara. The Annapurna, as I mentioned, Anna is the grain, Purna is the heat. Look at this mountain on the middle of the main part of the slide on the left. The shape of the mountain is the shape of the collecting the grain together, how it looks like. That's why it's called Annapurna. And Annapurna region is very famous, and it's easy even for everyone. It's not as hard as like other mountains, and good facility. And the Kerendoni, one of these, the Western company, their lodges are there. And on the right, you can see this is the lodges of the Kerendoni. We go to the next one now. So this is the landscape of Nepal. I think the terrace on the top, as you can see, and the below down, the big river, White River, and a suspension bridge. This will be one of the great fun in Nepal everywhere, because we don't have a road developed very much, and many places we have a suspension bridge to cross the river. And the right and the middle and the right top is the village near Pokhara, and the river rafting on the right top. And below down is as I told you, 6,000 river we have. And one of these on our driveway from Kathmandu and go out to Pokhara, Gorkha, Chitwan, we have to drive through along the river like this. Please, we go to the next one. Yes, earthquake, unfortunately, you can see how it was. So back it was 2015, 7.8 Richter scale. Epicenter was the Gorkha, and so many old heritage pagoda on the top. You can see how it was damaged. One survived, many were damaged, and one on the right is the very British style building, which was built in the Kathmandu Darbar Square were damaged, and all the damage, all the heritage building, private house, temples, pagodas. But please, we go to another one. We say we rise again. We raise somehow. More than 85% work has done. See, on the top is the Bodhanath Stupa. The top part was fallen now. We have already completed. And you can see the scrap folders for the, by today, most of the thing, I would say more than 90% work has done. One in the very center, the white building, if you see that, as I mentioned in a slide before, the British style palace, which was broken, now is already rebuilt, and it looks like this. So this is after the earthquake. So in Nepal, please come to Nepal. We have a very good accommodation. The heritage boutique hotels provide the luxury and comfort here. And some of these Dwarikas, Kantipur, and Kathmandu guest house, the historical one, Fishtail Lodge in Pokhara, and all of these accommodation are really beautiful in good quality and service, the smiling faces. Yes. And please, we have, though we don't produce any car in this country, but we have imported a lot of Japanese, Chinese, or Korean car, Indian cars that are luxury and comfortable, like the sedan, Creta, and one on the right, the long one is if we have 7-8 people in the group, we have a Japanese-made Hiace, Toyota Hiace. Like these are just transportation we'd like to show you when you come later. Okay, we go to the. So when you come like 15, 16, or 20, what we do? Like we have buses with a very comfortable suspense and lots of, in the air condition and very comfortable, good driver. Because in Nepal, we have the tourist vehicle drivers have a special license and they drive carefully and they very gently they drive. And when we have a big group, we'll use those buses. Yeah, they're showing you. Please come. And here, look at this welcome lady. The very old art of one of the palace. And so there will be so many welcomes like that everywhere, in every part of the country. We are here. Thank you very much for joining me. I conclude with this. And Nepal, this 5-letter, NEPAL, never-ending peace and love. We're waiting for you. Thank you.
That was just awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for showing us the wonders of Nepal. Time for me to show my less exciting slides. So let's bring them up. So now a very quick idea of our tours. Hidden Nepal. This is a very an all-encompassing tour of Nepal, which, as the name suggests, takes you off the tourist trail. So while Kathmandu and Pokhara are the must-see places, but as you've seen from Bishnu's presentation, all those lovely little towns and the Bardia National Park, which is all less visited, are really the places if you really want to get a sense of Nepal and get up and close to the local people there. And this is exactly what this tour covers. We do have 2 departures every year in spring as well as in autumn. The autumn one, the dates are set to coincide with the Dashain festival, which is one of the most important festivals in the country. And we do have dates. I've just put 14 March here, but we do have the October dates, or you can do it as a private trip at any time of the year, though we do recommend skipping the summer and the rainy months. It can get rain quite heavily there. Then we have Essential Nepal and Bhutan. So this is a combination trip of the 2 countries. And for somebody who wants to get a feel of Nepal and going on to Bhutan, you get to visit Kathmandu and the places around. Here again, we run 2 departures every year. The autumn one coincides with the Dashain festival, and then the one in May or April, which is the spring tour, is normally something which coincides with the festival in Bhutan. Again, this can be done as a private trip also. And going on to the next one, called the Glimpse of India and Nepal. We offer it as a private trip. And this was for somebody who is a first timer and wants to visit the highlights of the 2 countries. So you get to visit the Golden Triangle and then go on to Nepal to visit the highlights of the country there. Again, this can be organized any time of the year. This is a longer trip. Highlights of the subcontinent, which covers India, Nepal, and Bhutan. So again, aimed at a first-timer who wants to visit the highlights of India, Nepal, and Bhutan. Now, because these are private trips, they are not set in stone. The itineraries can be modified. We can add in more places anywhere that you would like to visit, or you can reduce the number of days. So you can play around with these itineraries. These are just the suggested ones, mainly, like I said, targeted at first timers. But again, that is not necessary for somebody going on repeat trips. We can then put in places which you haven't visited and tailor an itinerary to suit your requirements. And any questions regarding these combination trips, please feel free to email us at ask@traveltheunknown.com or inquiries@traveltheunknown.com. Now some general information on the country. Nepal is 5 hours and 45 minutes ahead of GMT. There are no direct long-haul flights into the country, but you can fly via the Middle East, India, or Singapore. Visa is in different categories. They have single entry, multiple entry. Single entry is normally like about 15 days, multiple entry. And while you can get it on arrival, we do strongly recommend you take it before you travel. It is an easy process, even taking it before you travel, but then it just cuts out the hassle and the waste. The waiting time there, because Tribhuvan Airport is one of the most chaotic airports when you wouldn't want to spend too long waiting there. Money is the rupee. ATMs are very rare outside of Kathmandu. There aren't any at all, so we recommend taking cash. There are lots of money changers everywhere, and currency can easily be exchanged, and you get a very good rate. The best time to travel is March to May or September to November. So let's go on to the question answer round now. I have the first question for you, Bishnu.
Yes.
Where would be a good place or the good places in the country to see birds and animals? And are there any birds in and around Kathmandu also for somebody who wants to just be based there? And
Yeah. Well, very best one is the Chitwan National Park, which is 160 kilometers south from Kathmandu, or the Birdia National Park, which is 1 hour flight from Kathmandu. These are outside Kathmandu, the best for the birds and mammals. But near Kathmandu, couple hours drive, even 1.5 hour drive away, one in the south, Godavari, there is even the botanical garden, Godavari. And that is the very nice place for the birding. And another one is 1 hour drive to the north, the Shivapuri National Park, a small national park. They don't have many mammals. They have some pygmy hog, like little wild boar, some barking deer. Sometimes people have seen the leopard and a clouded leopard there, but also good for the birding. Birding tour within the Kathmandu Valley, like a day trip for the 4 or 5 days we can arrange from here.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another question, please.
Yes. What is when do you think the country is going to start issuing visas for tourists?
I would say there are very positive and growing news, and even the quarantine time has reduced now. And also I heard the quarantine is going to be only for the name, only for the show up for the something. And I believe when the situation is getting better and better, like yesterday only 72 people affected, there is no death yesterday, so there are less than 1,000 active cases. Most of them have they have cured. So I would say another month, 1 month maximum from now. Also there is a demand of the travel and trekking and the association of the people that not to have a quarantine period. So probably, I believe, this is my opinion, it's not the official, probably the quarantine time would be no more soon.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So in all these places that you showed here, is altitude sickness a problem? Do you think that could cause any problem? Or any of those other areas?
Well, the most highlight like Kathmandu, Pokhara, Chitwan, Lumbini, Birdia, no. But if we go to the Upper Mustang, for example,
yes,
Upper Mustang, I would say normally, this is the worldwide assumption, above 3,000 meters, like 10,000 feet.
Yes, exactly.
One can. And but there is a process. Always you have a guide, a leader, all the time, who suggest and check your pulse, and oximeter are there. And when you go to gradually up, you can easily like acclimatize. Also,
Right.
it depends on the situation. If you, let's say, if you fly from the lowland from 5 meter to 3,000 meters,
Yes.
suddenly, because from the 500 meter you're going to be in a 3,000 meter, so that you don't acclimatize. So that in this situation, one can get some headache or some symptom. But
Yes.
if you do that 3,000 meter in a 5 days time or 6 days time gradually,
Yes.
and that would be no problem.
Brilliant.
Also, there are some
And
medicine people take. Even somebody have that kind of fear or some problem, there are quite a few medicine which is suggested by the physician, by the doctors,
yes.
before you start the trip, which are not very expensive and which does not have a side effect.
Great. Yeah, that's a good idea for anybody who wants to go into the higher regions. Mostly our tour just takes them to regions which are not in the high altitude at all. Your pictures have been greatly appreciated. And in fact, we've also got a request for the hotel pictures, which we will email over. It will also be on a recording of the presentation, so you can see them in detail. And let's go on to the next question. Yes, there's one on private tours dedicated to the wildlife and bird life. We can definitely organize private tours which are just based around wildlife, and nobody better than Bishnu to lead you on those tours with his expertise on the fauna of the country. Then let's go on to the next question. How has the country managed the COVID situation?
Oh, Nepal.
Yes.
Well, in the beginning, it was like in the beginning last year, March, April, May, June, like the first 3-4 months, it was a very scary situation, and people were following the strict rules and the regulation. But later on, government, the municipality slowly eased the thing. And in fact, in Nepal, compared to the other continent, the infection and mortality rate is very low. We have 30 million people in Nepal, and so far 270,000 people have got, and mortality is 2,700. And now, like all white, maintaining in the beginning, the social distancing, using the mask, washing hands, still people are doing that and not traveling. Even in the public buses, there will be a seat gap from one to another. It's like that. All the schools remain closed, and they had online classes and all the business like that, did the online. But recently, as the world went into the vaccination, and 7th of January this year, we got the 1 million dose from India, and 500,000 people. They are the frontliner. That was in 27th of January. Most of the frontliners they have got now.
Great.
And 4 days from now, as you mentioned, today is the 19th of Falgun. 23rd of the Falgun, we are getting another 1 million dose from India.
Yes.
And 5 million doses are coming. 5 million doses are coming within 1 month now. So we did quite good in general.
They're also on target there then.
Yeah.
And what currency would you recommend? I mean, is any currency changed easily, or do you recommend carrying USD?
Well, USD is easier everywhere, and British pound also is good. And what I suggest, they can bring the British pound or American dollar, no problem. Even Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, no problem. The Danish kroner, no problem. Because when they first come to Kathmandu, it's quite easy. There are many money changers, and we suggest when we go like 9 or 10 days out of the Kathmandu, then we'll suggest our guests to have approximately this much Nepali rupees with you, and that is easier.
Right.
So uh, British pound and American dollar normally doesn't make any difference.
Right. That's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
yeah,
then one can just take the currency, and
yeah,
as
yeah, the currency.
change it here into dollars and then again change it there on arrival. So,
And I would also like to mention you that last 2 years, the extension of ATM outside Kathmandu is very rapidly going.
right. Okay.
Even in so very recently, I visited Chitwan National. There are 4 or 5 ATM in even outside the park.
Really?
Yeah, very
That's amazing. Yeah,
surprising.
because when I went, I mean, there was nothing. There were only Tharu villages outside the
No, no,
park.
no, no, no. There is some part, the part there is. I saw, I think more than 5 ATMs. They're working well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Another question on food now. Is
yeah.
vegetarian food easily available in the country?
Oh yes, yes, ma'am. A lot of Nepali community also vegetarian. Also, not only vegetarian. There are many hotels, restaurant. They have a separate menu of the vegan as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Food, no problem. Because the Nepali food are mostly vegan because they don't use like a animal butter, no like a
Right.
ghee or butter.
Yes.
Instead of that, they use the plant-based oil. But if you say I don't eat meat, that nobody serve you. They know,
Oh, yeah,
and easily
exactly.
you can.
Varieties of a lot of lentils, lot of greens are
Yeah,
consumed.
yeah,
So yes,
yeah,
vegetable.
yeah, yeah.
And see, our tours normally include breakfast only. So lunches and dinners, roughly, what would you say in a good restaurant locally? What would it typically cost?
10, 15, 20, 15. Lunch, I would say mm, $10 or $12 American dollar, maybe 8, 9 British pound.
Yeah.
And dinner, I would say
Is
go
it per
to
person? Sorry, are you saying per person or would it be for a couple?
yeah per person one meal.
Great. Okay. Yeah.
And a dinner would be like a slightly expensive. That is kind of, let's say, $15, $16.
Okay.
But there are also the restaurant you can get in the $3 or $4. This we don't recommend that one.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
for
Those
the
would be the
that is for the Nepali
smaller.
stomach.
But yeah, the one in the hotel, as you said, for dinner time could be
Yeah,
slightly,
dinner.
but still
Yeah,
much cheaper
yeah,
compared to other places, I guess.
yeah, Fo- uh, yeah. $15, $16 for the one dinner is okay. But if
Yes.
you sometimes go to the special, very special,
Yes.
elaborated or like a Krishna, like a very special traditional.
The finest,
Uh,
yeah, the Nepalese fine dining restaurant.
but sometimes that could be like a $30, $35 too. But in the hotel where you stay, 15, 16 would be enough.
Brilliant. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I think that's all the questions we have today.
This
So
is it.
let's go on to the next slide. I think you covered everything so well, explained it all so well that, like, sometimes questions come up if there's more information, but you really covered everything very well on your slides. And it's really been appreciated by everyone. There are lots of compliments from lots of our clients here. And so here are the next two events as shown on this slide. We will be heading further west now from the Himalayas to the Hindu Kush and on to the Pamir Mountains. Registration details for the next event and recordings of all our previous talks can be found on our events page. And of course, a newsletter is going to be sent out once the registration link for the next talk is set up. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Bishnu, for an insightful
Thank you.
call.
Thank you. All the ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much joining us, and at least you can hear us, and we can be able to show you. So we are here to welcome you as soon as possible. Thank
We
you.
look forward to traveling very soon too.
Yeah, thank you.
By the
Dhanyabad.
sounds of it, I think by later this year, we should be able to travel to
Yeah,
Nepal easily.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
so we'll see you in 2 weeks when we take you on a virtual tour of Tajikistan. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Outin basa. For example,